Welcome to The Home and the Maker, sharing advice and encouragement about all topics homemaking and homesteading, and honoring the maker in all of it. Join Megan from Shine.fm for today's conversation. As we've released some episodes for this podcast about natural living, we've talked about how what we put on our skin matters. So today it's time to talk about makeup, and there are cleaner choices for makeup out there. So I've brought my friend Kate to the studio to talk about this and more today. Kate is also the founder of Flourishing Lifeway, through which she partners with leaders, organizations, and communities to prevent burnout, strengthen nervous system regulation, and cultivate healthy leaders, relationships, and cultures where people can sustainably flourish. So we'll talk about flourishing skin and health, and flourishing leadership in your home, and a flourishing mind and body. So thank you, friend, for being here today.
Thanks, Megan. It's so fun to be here. Shine has been in the background of my life for 14 years.
No way.
I love this.
Yay. Well, it's funny because when I came up with the idea to have you on this podcast, we're in the same small group, and you hosted Friendsgiving at your house.
Yeah, so fun.
And I was washing my hands before serving up my food in your bathroom. And I was like, I saw the makeup brand that you used, a brand that I've seen a lot of people in the natural living world use. And I was like, oh, she uses this. What does she know about this? And we should talk about it. So I'm glad that you are on today. And you had shared with me that you've kind of been on this journey of being kind to your body. And so tell me about this, where this started for you. And I believe you also said you had a funny story to share about it too.
I do. Okay, so most girls, you'd think that they're the ones who are leading the health journey for their family. Mm-hmm. So mine actually really started with my husband.
Really?
Yes, it's so funny. So I've lived all over the world, and I train leaders, to, like we talked about, to release stored trauma and toxic stress from their bodies. That's my thing. When people think of me, I think of the trauma girl. They don't usually think of the beauty product girl. Yeah. But it actually came from my husband.
Okay.
So he wrote me a love letter one day. And he said, "My beauty queen, I know you'll always wear makeup. You don't need to." Mm-hmm. But I went ahead and I took the time to research every single option of the cleanest, most healthiest beauty products.
Okay.
And he's an engineer, so they got to do all the research,
yes.
Right? So he did that deep dive and just went through it. And I was like, honey, that took a lot of time. I didn't even know you knew what mascara versus eyeliner was. And he had to research that too.
Yeah.
But then he said the cutest quote. So he speaks, 4 to 6 languages. Mm-hmm. So he has permission to make up words. And so he looked at me and he said, "My first thought to my last thought is your health being." And I was like, oh my gosh, you're the cutest. Yeah. Your health being.
Yeah.
So I've never heard that word before. Uh-huh. I don't think it really exists, but I love it because that's really what it's all about to me is our health and our wellness all combined into one. It's not just being pretty. It's being intentional with what we've been entrusted.
Oh, that's so sweet. Good job, Yotam.
He's the best.
So, I guess that I was going to say, why choose it?
Yeah.
Well, that started with Yotam, researching it. So when he gave you this list, what did you start with? Just researching? Well, not really researching. He already did that for you, but you just started looking at what he pulled up and just kind of looking into it from there, what you wanted.
So it really spills over into so many areas of our lives. Just being intentional of not just what we put into our bodies, but what we put onto our bodies. Yeah. And so there's so many tools that he taught me in this journey. So there's EWG is the go-to site to see, is this actually harmful for my body or not? There's the Yucca app that you can scan products.
Yep.
So I have a question for you. If you were to guess how many personal care products your husband has, how many would you guess?
Well, I will say Garen is like Yotam in the sense that he very much cares about what he puts on his body. So I could tell you personal care products would be 2, probably 4.
Yeah,
very, very simple. Yeah.
Okay, so my husband, he can put all of his in one little travel bag.
Yes.
Oh my word. But for us women, oh my word. If you were to guess how many beauty and wellness products the average woman has in her house, off the top of your head, just a random ballpark number, what would you guess?
Maybe 20
in their home.
Oh,
that
in
they
the whole
have.
home for personal care.
for everything health and beauty.
I'd probably stick with 20.
I mean,
is it more than that?
Yeah. Well, like I think for so many women, there's so many products in their lives, and it's really like we can oftentimes have that like cabinet that becomes the graveyard for all the expired.
Right. Yes.
We have this like our go-to emotional support lip gloss that we've had for 18 years.
Throw it away.
But it's really, again, being intentional. What are we putting in our body and on our body?
Yeah.
So the average adult uses 12 products a day. And then when you think about it, when you look at like the ingredients list, which very rarely do we actually do that.
Right.
But when you look at that ingredients list, it's often at 15 to 20 products. So if you do the math, we're being exposed to hundreds of chemicals every day that can be harmful to our bodies, and we're just oblivious. We're not thinking about it. We're just prioritizing convenience or just what's quick, what's cheap, what's expected of us, the latest and greatest trends.
Sure.
That we're not being as intentional with what's entrusted to us. So I love the quote that God is the owner and I'm just the manager.
Yeah, that's
so
good.
I want to be a good manager of the body that He's entrusted me.
So with some of the more natural, cleaner, better products, have you felt that, and maybe even when your husband gave you this list, have you felt that these kinds of things are more expensive than like your traditional, like what you were using before?
So as a missionary kid, grew up in Africa, I kind of low-key had a bit of like the poverty mentality where it's like, it was really hard for me to like invest in myself. So easy to focus on everybody else's needs, but to invest in myself was honestly in the beginning difficult for me. But when you think about it, this is for your health. This is not just for, just something you just have a few minutes with. It's, like your things you put on your lips. You're basically eating them, but yet we don't think about, this could be a carcinogenic ingredient. This could affect my endocrine system, which affects, your moods. It affects your quality of sleep. It could affect, future reproductive systems. It can affect so many things, not just right now, but for the future. And so if we can just be a little more intentional, it's so worth it. When in my work as a trauma-informed consultant, I'm always asking organizations when they ask about the cost of the investment to work with me, I'm always asking them back the question of, but what is the cost to not, to leave things as they are? If this can impact my life in so many ways, when you look at how much cancer is in the world today and things like that, if we can just do a little bit more intentionality towards what's going to help me not just survive, but to really flourish.
Yeah, I love that. So some of the more expensive things, like have you noticed, and with like the brands that you use, like have you noticed that they work as good as like maybe what you were using before? Like, do you feel like, these are really great substitutes and they're better for me?
So again, it was a whole bunch of trial and error to find, because I think a lot of clean beauty products are either just good marketing that's really lying to us that they're not, in fact, actually healthy for us. They're still sneaking a lot of ingredients in that are harmful, or they just don't perform, And so that's what's been so encouraging to me. My mentor within this journey is Jordan Lee Dooley. We just had a call today.
No way.
Yes.
Okay.
And so just learning from her that there are products that you can have, that you can trust, that are only not harmful for your body, not harmful to the environment. When you look at how much plastic is in the world, that are also not harmful for animals and the testing that's done on them, and can perform just as good, if not better. That's what I love so much. So even seeing like with Crunchi, what Jordan introduced me to, like they solve simple problems, so like a lot of times as women, when we take our makeup everywhere, so our blushes, they get like, as we travel with them, they break down, and then you're like, when you open it and it's spilling the product everywhere. And so to have like a liquid highlighter and a liquid blush that actually is healthy for you and performs better than anything else I found. Like that's gold to me, to be able to know that peace of mind. This is an investment in my health being, as my husband said.
Makes so much sense. Okay. So, you already kind of touched on like some of the things that you like about like the brand that you found. But kind of diving a little bit deeper into this, and maybe touching on a little bit of what your husband said to you. But like the argument could be made for women that like the most natural thing to do, is to just like go with like the God-given beauty that he's given to each of us. So like how do we view makeup in a godly way?
I love this question so much because we were designed with a very, very intelligent, creative designer. We're made in the image of God, and our God is an artist. He didn't have to make flowers with all these beautiful colors, but he did.
That's true.
And he designed us in a way that we can also be creative and express that artistry as well.
Yeah.
And so again, when we think back to beauty is not just, okay, I need to be pretty, I need to be attractive. It's to be vibrant, to be flourishing, again, the opposite of just surviving.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's our most alive self. When we're flourishing, we're truly fully connected to God, others, and to ourself.
Yeah.
And that's when we're most alive.
Yeah.
And so it's that we start, from the inside of inner beauty is coming from our heart and our character. That's what's glorious.
Yeah.
That's what really makes you, that's a beautiful woman when it's her character, her heart. And then what we put into our bodies and the lives we live, the environments we build around us, the communities we build. And then the outer beauty of just getting to express and enhance. So it's not just, a problem to fix. That's what most girls use makeup for, a problem to fix. But it's really to enhance what God gave us. Because I don't know about you, but I want to shine bright for my Creator and then point that back to Him. That He's the owner, I'm the manager.
Yeah.
And I want to be a good steward of this temple that He's entrusted me with.
That's so good. So good. So moving into your work, you have a passion for helping people flourish, and that's the biggest theme in this podcast, but doing it in a holistic way, deeper than what's on the skin. So you help people with their like nervous systems, you help people with leadership. So what does that look like for women in the home when it comes to like flourishing leadership?
Absolutely. So it's holistic. So it's the fact that we don't have to live in that survival mode that so many of us have been operating for years in, that just chronic exhaustion, the overwhelm, the feeling that I'm not enough. I have to hustle harder, which is actually like a very masculine thing, but we live in that. We got to perform, we got to achieve. And to come back to, it's all about being connected. Yeah. Those connections, that's what heals. That's what results in true, genuine health in a world that's doing so much, I call it like faux health, fake health. Like we'll do this fake thing we think is going to actually change something about us, but without actually having a healthy lifestyle. Yeah. For example, we'll just take some product or whatever that we think is going to make us skinny instead of like living a healthy lifestyle,
Yeah.
Or we'll...
it's masking
what's
under.
Yeah. And instead, if we live flourishing, where we're reducing our toxic load, so that's the cumulative burden of all the things that we're putting on our bodies and our nervous system. Yeah. So that can be really, when you think about, all that we're exposed to with all the overstimulation and all the screen time, that can be the lack of sleep, the fact that we are hardly getting outside in sunshine and, feeling the grass beneath our feet. All of those things that we're engaging in, the conflicts and relationships, all of that comes back to that toxic load, that burden. And so if we can help leaders to learn how to release that toxic stress and that trauma, and to be emotionally healthy leaders with relational intelligence, it's basically we want to be known for how we treat our people.
Yeah, that's good.
And we can do that together. We can flourish together.
Yeah. So this is your passion. This is your work. Where do you start when you're like kind of coaching people in how to flourish?
So, just like we teach people how to drive a car, I'm like, why in 2026 are we not teaching people how to regulate their nervous systems? And that affects everything, the way we show up. So I love just helping leaders to realize, to be a good steward of what God's entrusted us. It also does come back to our bodies, our mind, our bodies, our spirits all together. And so there's so many free things that we can do to regulate our nervous system so we can show up more effectively for those that we lead and love to be more effective in the callings He's given us. And so I teach people, I have an app called NeuroFit where I teach them how to do somatic practices to release that stored trauma and toxic stress.
Okay.
I have something called the Flourishing Formation, and that's where we just teach people how to become flourishing catalysts. So it's like a reset for their holistic health.
Okay.
How do we prevent burnout? How do we just regulate our nervous systems? How do we just build a healthy lifestyle? And then the multiplication effect of how do we bring that to not just our homes, those we lead and love, but to our organizations and our communities at large.
Gotcha. So it's like one example of something that like resetting the nervous system or like regulating. Like what's one like easy example that comes to mind?
So something I love, if you have like a stressful interaction with someone, this is just like silly, but you want to show up as an emotionally healthy leader. It's not just suppressing, because I think so many times, even in the Christian world, we can do a lot of self-abandonment and be totally disconnected from our body. So it is like still acknowledging what you're going through. And then you can just take, just 2 minutes and just do some movements that will just release that stress from your body. So then you can show up in a way that communicates, I am for you. So this is like, it sounds silly, but even just like pressing with all of your might on a wall, or even just underneath your desk, or even just your hands like this. Something like that.
It's just somewhere where the stress can actually go.
Yeah, it's so simple. But it's like, okay, that's how God designed us, that we can take better care of our bodies. And that's how I want Christians to be known. We are going to show up as people who are connected to God, others, and ourselves holistically, and we're fighting for the highest good of those that we lead and love.
I love that. So when I think about like the work that you help people do, and like especially the word flourish, like I think of like John 10 verse 10, the thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy, and I have come that they may have life and have it abundantly. Like I see like your heart for that. So tell me like an example of like, or just like as you coach people, like what it's like to watch people experience, wait, I have abundant life in God.
Relationships are everything. Relationships heal. And again, are we just going through the motions, or are we actually experiencing God as our steadfast companion who is mighty to save and able to heal today? And it's like all of the wounds that we go through, he can do something about that. And I just like want to encourage people that he hears them, he sees them, the hard things we go through, he knows how hard it is for them. He can do something about it, and it is his joy to be with us in it.
So as you like walk alongside people, like do you see them kind of hit the light bulb moment and you're like, you're living in it, like you've got that abundant life? Like do you see that as you work with people?
I do. I see that transformation. But then I also remind them it's just like any relationship, we have to nurture it. It's not just like a one and done. So I teach people it's like our relational circuits are on, off, or dim, And so we got to just to keep the switch on, that we are fully connected. That's how we flourish. And it's not something that's going to happen passively. It's an active pursuit of that connection, and that's what leads to health.
That's so good. Now, if someone's watching this or listening to this and they're in that place where they're like, I am so burned out, like where do you encourage them to start?
I think just coming back to what are their needs. Sometimes we need to give permission to people to be not okay, to be affected. And I just want to encourage people just to be a good friend to yourself. Like what are the needs that you've been pushing down, and how can you just when you think of the way God, who loves you so much, who gave his life for you, the good things he would want for you, how can you honor that love by being a good friend to yourself, being kind to your body?
That's good. Honor the love that God has given you. That's cool. kind of going backwards a little bit, like as we talked like about makeup at the beginning, and then also about like nervous systems and regulating like the stress, like what is the correlation that you see between like what we put in or on our body and then like the nervous system? And maybe that's like kind of that toxic load.
Yes. Yeah. Again, all of those things impact us. Either they result in more flourishing or they result in more depletion. It's kind of either or, you know? And so when we strive to make choices that honor God, are kind to ourselves, and result in us showing up in a more healthy way for our communities, that's like win-win-win, right? You know? And so it is all, again, God made us holistically. It's all connected. And to be healthy leaders, we need to focus, you know, on all of the domains of health, and not just one, not just the ones that others will see the most. But again, it comes from the inside out.
Yes. Yep. That's good. So my last question. So this has been your passion, your work. So God has done a lot of transformation in you. So what has God done in you as you've learned more about God's design for the holistic self, like body, mind, and spirit?
For me, I think I grew up, you know, in Africa as a missionary kid, seeing so much poverty and trauma. And it honestly felt like, okay, my people are bleeding in trauma and addiction and poverty. And sometimes it feels like church is like, okay, just come sit in our pews and sing our songs, but keep bleeding. And then seeing that, okay, no, our God is a healer. He can heal those wounds, even my wounds. And so for me to really learn every day, how do I release everyone and everything to Him? I'm not the Savior. I get to give my people back to Him. I don't have to carry them. And that's when I can show up most healthy, when I'm operating out of the overflow of that connection. Not out of a striving or a needing to prove or to please or to perform, but it's just out of the overflow of my delight, of my connection in Him.
That's so good. Well, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, just all those things. I think that's so encouraging, not just like thinking about beauty, but just like the inner self too, and just what God has given us to steward in our minds, and how that correlates with our body. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It's a joy to get to be here.
And if you want to learn more about what Kate does through Flourishing Lifeway, or if you even want to learn more about her makeup and skincare products, you can actually see a lot of this information in the episode show notes. So you can check that out after you're done listening or watching this. You can also connect with her on Instagram, which is also in the show notes, or you can just head straight to her website, which is flourishinglifeway.com.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Home and the Maker podcast. And for other podcasts from Shine.fm, visit the Shine.fm podcast channel.